before we go. Knox County schools. Apparently they're getting ready to face what could possibly be a lawsuit seeking as much as $10,000 for a Lonsdale elementary school student who was injured last summer on a recalled playground swing set when it broke. Remember that?
There's a little story that kind of quietly went away, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, they may be seeking as much as $10,000 just for pain and suffering from Knox County, and they're threatening a lawsuit. And that was, I remember that story. I remember that kicked off that big multi-part report that Danila and the folks at BIR did concerning swing set and playground safety. Because for a lot of places,
good little series.
Yeah, for a lot of places, there wasn't really any. Playground safety is kind of a very loose term when it comes to Knox County.
Yeah.
But yeah, they may be seeking quite a bit of money. Quite a bit of money. So far, the girls' multiple injuries have cost just over $4,000 in medical bills so far. That's as of March this year.
Wow.
So they're looking at a lawsuit. Rightfully so.
I'm sure the school system will be responsible for that.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I would like to, wonder if there's an update on this story. I would like to know if the school system has hired or had already someone in place in maintenance to go around and check these school grounds. I just wonder if they're actually doing it now.
I don't know. You would hope they are.
Yeah.
You would really, really hope they are. And if that's not enough, I mean, we seems like we always talk about stuff going on in our school system here.
Right.
In Knox County school system. A couple weeks ago, about a month ago, we had that discussion about the differences of opinion from the director of the law office.
Yeah.
And the director of school. And the question mainly being, does the law authorize the director of schools to unilaterally approve and accept a grant or gift without the consent of the board? Because remember, we talked about this grant as part of this Broad Academy placement program.
Well, this whole situation just set off a complete firestorm all the way around.
Sure.
Yeah. Back
in September 9th of 2014, Broad residency. Dr. McIntyre gets a letter saying he's pleased to announce a grant to Knox County Schools for Broad member to participate in the Broad residency in urban education. And it basically spelled out that the main components would be the Broad Center will subsidize $29,700 of the resident's salary for the period specified, provide all benefits provided to regular full-time employees at a comparable level. The Broad Center will pay for travel, expenses, etc. And then by accepting the grant, your organization agrees to be bound by the terms of this agreement. And also, you have a matching grant funds. Your organization has agreed to provide matching grant funds in the amount of $60,300. I don't understand. How do you get a grant of $29,700 and our matching portion of that is $60,300, almost double the amount, which is 67% of the resident's salary. The matching funds to support the resident's position in the organization. I still don't understand that. Also, in accordance with the TBR 2014 unpaid leave due to birth of a child policy and guidelines to be followed, your organization will permit the resident to participate fully in the professional development activities of the residency as described in the section blah, blah, blah. The Broad Center will pay all travel expenses related to the sessions subject to the TBR 2014 Resident Travel Policy and Guidelines. And the question there is that whether Broad pays all the expenses, including food and lodging. Also, it mandates that the schools comply with Broad's travel policy, whatever their policy may be. Okay. The organization permits the resident to participate fully in the professional development activities of the residency as described in this section. Basically, Broad can dictate to the schools when its fellow can be withdrawn from the school duties to fulfill their agenda, and the employer receives paid leave to fulfill duties to Broad. So for some reason, they're coming here. We're going to pay double the amount to match their funds. They're going to be working here, but they're fully at the beck and call of the Broad Academy, but being paid by Knox County Schools. All right, so you've got all that. Then you add to that, you get down further in the agreement there. Making this grant, TBC, the Broad Academy assumes no reliability for any actions or omissions of your organization, including those of any officers, directors, employees, or agents of your organization, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, the law director does not and will not approve any contract that has an indemnity clause in it. And there's an indemnity clause in this.
Okay.
Next ones basically states, in connection with this grant, your organization, including your officers, blah, 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 may have access to receive and be entrusted with confidential information, including but not limited to development, and they talk about secret confidential material. It's considered secret. It's available to your organization members in strict confidence, except in carrying out purposes for which this grant was made. Apparently that provision would never be approved by the law director because the schools are completely controlled by the Tennessee Open Records Act, and any and all documents related to this grant or employment are absolutely open records. There is no top secret.
Right.
Which is why we have this. It's
exactly.
Open records.
Yeah, as it should be, yeah.
Finally, the parties agree to submit to the jurisdiction of the state of California, County of Los Angeles, for the resolution of any dispute that may arise hereunder. It's the most miscellaneous provision. That's the last part of that. And the law director has never approved a contract with a clause that provides venue and jurisdiction in another state. It should be followed under Tennessee state law, not under the law of California.
Right.
But that's what this does. Mm-hmm. Well, this has been signed. This was the agreement signed by Dr. McIntyre.
Ah.
Okay. So you keep all that in mind. He signed and agreed to all that, but apparently the law director saying, does the law authorize the director of schools to unilaterally approve and accept a grant or gift without the consent of the Board of Education? Is the board policy DM entitled Grants Management legally valid? The answer, no, to both the question and the corollary question.
Yep.
No, not at all. That was submitted to the law director by two different Board of Education members, and the answer is the same in both ways. State law takes provision, and the policy of Knox County takes provision, or takes precedent over that.
Makes sense to me.
So you start to wonder, well, and he said, well, he thought he was doing what he was allowed to do.
Okay.
And he agreed to all this.
I'll give him that.
But
now you know.
Now you know. So did you commit fraud by signing that? Did you promise that we would do all this stuff and abide by all this stuff without ever checking with anybody beforehand? I mean, you look at this agreement, it's a big, long, full-out, there's a lot of different parts to this agreement. Why you wouldn't go to somebody and say, hey, can we abide by all this?
If you were the head of a school system, not necessarily Knox County, but any school system, and would you not run everything through the law department? I mean, they're there at your behest.
Sure, unless your ego gets in the way and you feel that you already know that you can or can't do this. My question still is the matching grant. We'll pay $29,700. You match that with $60,000.
That Common Core math.
Okay, to me, you tell me matching grant. Okay, when we do a lot of charity stuff. Mm-hmm. You do it in radio.
Yeah,
and we do a lot of fundraising things. A lot of times when you have fundraisers, especially with corporate involvement, you'll have matching grants. Mm-hmm. And you'll say, okay, if you guys work for this company, you donate $100, your company will match that $100.
$400?
For $100. You donate $100, your company will match $100.
Not $200?
No. Or they'll say, hey, for every $200 donation, we'll match that $200 donation and we'll throw an additional $300 on top of that. That's the additional, not the matching. That's the additional. This thing doesn't spell out the additional money. It says the matching grant.
Matching grant.
Which means if you give $30,000, we match it with $30,000. But in this case, you will give $27,900. You match it with $6,300. Because it's got to be $90,000.
Doesn't sound like a good deal to me.
If you're going to go ahead and say it has to add up to $90,000, then the matching grants should be, I don't know, and this is rough. I mean, this is not. I got to use my Chisenbop here. $45,000 a piece.
How about that?
But that's just me. Maybe I don't know.
Somebody's getting a good deal there.
I am the Asian guy that has trouble with math. So that's me. That's me. I help out the curve.
Easy now.
I help out the curve. That's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
Matching grants, $45,000. Oh, look, $90,000. Matching grants, $27,300. Oops, we're a little short.
That doesn't come up to 90.
I don't get it. That right there I had the initial question about. Caleb asked me one thing. We need to do this right before we take this break because we got to take a break and check on the things. But Caleb asked if we would do one thing. And yes. Here you go, Caleb, just for you.
I don't understand the problem you got with bad pork. I don't eat it anyway. Don't really like it. I don't like bacon. Who doesn't like bacon? Hell, I'll eat 6-year-old bacon, 10-year-old bacon, 9-year-old bacon, 25-year-old bacon. Doesn't matter. Bacon's bacon. I ate bacon once off the side of the road. It's good. Dracula.
Shut up.
There's something wrong if you're serving 6-year-old pork tenderloin. Tenderloinus. I'm not a big fan of the pork tenderloinus, but, that's just me. I like a big piece of beef. Charbroiled. Line it up with the gasoline in a match. That's what I like. It's good. Very, very good.
35 minutes after the hour. That makes my head hurt.
It should make your head hurt.
You gotta check the roadways. There you go, Caleb. That's just for you. Don't say we didn't give you nothing. When we get back, it's all about Mom. Mother's Day coming up Sunday. You want to share about your mom? Do so. Text box open for you. Chat room open for you at knoxtalkradio.com. The phone line's open. 865-243-TALK, 243-8255. It's all Mother's Day, and it's all next on The Rude Awakening. Before we get to Mother's Day here, a couple of texts. Mark says, you're mathing real good today, Mike. Thank you. I'm trying.
He's on it today.
Working on the Chisenbop.
Yeah.
Been walking around banging my fingers on things all day long.
He has, yeah.
10.
All morning.
2. RJ says, how do they even find these kind of grant programs? Well, it's easy. It's the Broad Academy. He was a member. They called him up, said, hey, we got somebody who needs to find a place to work. Oh, send him here. RJ says he needs to focus on other things. Really quickly here, let's go to the phones. 865-243-TALK, 243-8255, about 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Mike, good morning. You're on The Rude Awakening.
Morning. I don't know if you're aware of this, but in the Monday work session, Patty Bounds said that what Dr. McIntyre had done with the grants was actually an action to terminate him for cause. I don't know if people are aware of this, but he was the CFO of the Boston school system, which is $1 billion school system. There's no way that he didn't know that what he did was wrong. And by wrong, what I mean is, in this state, it's a felony. By doing what he did, he misrepresented funding and part of the budget that he submitted to the Knox County Commission. That's against the law.
Yeah. And
I don't think you can unring the bell here.
Okay, well, according to graduations criminal offenses for the state of Tennessee, Class C felonies can be punishable by not less than 1 year or more than 6 years in prison. In addition, the jury may assess a fine not to exceed $3,000 unless otherwise provided by statute. So that's what a Class C felony falls under. And well, we'll see what happens. So far, it's been an administration kind of marked by apparently a very heavy layer of Teflon because nothing sticks. So we'll see what happens this time.
Well, thanks for reporting it.
Absolutely, Mike. We appreciate it. Was it not? Did he do it without knowledge? Did he not? He says he thought he was doing what was in his guidelines, but you heard there somebody saying no, he would know this, and we know that he was the CFO in Boston. He made that very clear. In fact, he's made it clear a couple times we've had him on this show and other shows to point out his background. You know, he even says he's a numbers guy, which makes you then question, well, then how come the numbers don't ever add up? You know, if you're so good on budgeting and everything else, you know, how come you don't keep track of how money's spent at times, or where money is going, or who's spending the money, you know, or just paying credit cards on time rather than racking up bills. There's things that just don't make a lot of sense, and we're getting texts and posts from people that say that by all intents and purposes, he should have known what was and was not in his purview.
I guess that's true. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I
Sure.
really, really do. But I guess when you lay it out like that, yeah.
You can't keep claiming ignorance and then turn around in the next breath and say, I'm the smartest guy in the room. You can't do it. You can't do it. It doesn't add up. It just doesn't make sense.